6:30.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanशलाकया Chakshurumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. You got my message. Gurave Gauri Chandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnebhyo namo namah. Anarpitam charim chirat karunyavatin kalau samarpaitam unnatajarasam sabhakti shriyam Haripura sundar duti kadamba sandipita sada hriday kandreshu Surutavai Sachinandana Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatorjay Mudiriyet Yam Pravajantam Anupetu Petu Krityam Dvaipanu Viraha Katura Juvaha Putreti Tanmayataya Tarvo Binedustam Sarvabhuta Hidayam Munimanatosmi Aho Bhagyam Nanda Govrajakusam Yan Mitra Paramanandam Purna Brahm Sanatanam Bhaktya Vihinaya Parad Lakshay Shiptasya Kamadhitarang Madde Kripamayi Tam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Numaste Charanarvindam Vishwa Sarga Visargadinav Laksha Lakshitam Krishnakhyam Paramadham Jagadham Namamiyat Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol. Thank you so much for hosting me and hosting the program together.
Thank you for coming.
In this beautiful place. I won't say place, it's a palace. The palace of the property belongs to Shri Radha Gokulanand. And Radha Gokulanand, when I say Radha Gokulanand, means the Ishta and worshipable of Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. If you go Vrindavan, there are 7 prominent temples, even though there are 5,000 temples, but 7 are prominent. And amongst those 7 temples, there is Shri Radha Gokulanand temple. And who established Shri Radha Gokulanand? Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. His commentaries are unparalleled and give so much insight to the pastimes of not only Krishna but entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And not only that, he has given so much philosophy, so much Siddhanta, which cannot be seen anywhere else. Especially his writing of Rasik Tikas, his commentary, which is so much in depth and details. The entire Gaudiya Vaishnava community eternally indebted to this great personality, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, whose Ishta is Radha Gokulanand. And by praying to Shri Radha Gokulanand, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing, Leela Vilase Bhakti Manjare Lolu Palane सर्वज्ञ मुग्धे च निधे गोकुलनन्ते नमः ददामि बुद्धि योगम तम ये नमाम उपयन्ति ते इति उवाच्य प्रभु तस्मत् एवं अर्थदे गोपी कुचलंकृतस्य तब गोपेन्द्र नंदनम दासम यथा भवेत बुद्धि योग पृच्छमे. So if you elaborate on this, it will go 2 days. It's so detailed. He's praying to Radha Gokulanan, describing his attributes, his features, his pastimes in just one verse. That, oh Shri Radha Gokulanan, just to summarize, you are Leela Vilasi. You always fond of manifesting your beautiful pastimes. Your only purpose of performing pastime is to please your associates. You have no self-interest in that. But of course there is self-interest because his very self is Radharani and he has so much interest in her. That's self-interest. So Leela Vilasi. Expanding his Leelas and then tasting his Leelas. Relishing his Leelas for his associates, and by seeing their pleasure and their happiness, his ananda, his bliss enhance more and more. And that's the only purpose. He always wants to enjoy. But his enjoyment, the mood of Krishna's enjoyment, why he wants to enjoy? His enjoyment is the source of our bliss. The material creation is also his enjoyment. And we are here in this material creation, struggling with our prarabdhas, previous impressions, previous lifetime impressions, to somehow overcome this and then get established with a spiritual form, in a spiritual world, with spiritual identities and with spiritual services. So, if we don't have this desire to enjoy, then we left alone, we have nothing else to do. So this is for material world. And for spiritual world, this is their party. Every minute, every second, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. He enhanced the bliss. And this all happened because of his expansion of pastimes. Leela Vilase Bhakti Manjare Lolu Palane. And is very greedy to taste the Bhakti Manjaris. Means the mood of the Manjaris is very greedy for that. What are the Manjaris? We see the creepers, and in creepers we see fresh, newly grown birds that enhance the beauty of the creepers. And Srila Gurudev, Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj used to explain, if there is no manjaris in the creepers are not so much beautiful. So there is a great significance of manjaris. And that's why our sampradaya promote manjari bhav. And Krishna is very greedy to taste the mood of the manjaris. These manjaris, they are manifestation of Radharani. Just like we have Rupa Manjari. Who is Rupa Manjari? The expansion of the form of Radharani, and that is Rupa Manjari. Then Rati Manjari. Rati means attachment. The attachment of Radharani for Krishna assumes a form, and that's Rati Manjari. So all these manjaris are manifestations of Radharani's moods for Krishna. And they are tadatme, oneness with Radharani. Tadatme means just like if you put an iron bar in fire for a couple of hours, the iron bar also assumes the same qualities as fire. Similarly, these Manjaris, because their absorptions in Radharani 24, not into 7, 24 into eternity. Yeah. And that's why whatever Radharani feels, the Manjaris also get the same feels and same emotions, even far distance, even from far distance. That's something amazing. Radharani is far distance from with Krishna in a grove, in a kunja, and Manjaris are performing some services, or they are arranging for the next pastimes, and they immediately get the same emotions. How we prove this? There's a verse by Shri Raghunath Das Goswami in Vilap Kusmanjali. And that verse is so difficult to say in the assemblies of Vaishnavas because this is something very high topic. But just one hint to prove how the Manjaris get the same feels as Radharani. So my question to the audience, is Rupa Manjari married or unmarried? Unmarried? Panditji? Is Rupa Manjari married or unmarried?
Unmarried.
Unmarried? Wrong. She is married. And Shri Raghunath Das Goswami in that verse is proving this. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami approaching Shri Rupa Manjari and saying, addressing her, saying, "Oh Rupa Manjari, your husband has gone far distance in foreign land, but why I'm seeing a bite in your lips? Your husband is not here." So that's why I'm saying I'm so sorry. It's something very high, and it's amorious pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But what it has to do with what I'm going to start today has great significance. So your husband is not here. Then why is he a bite? So how Rupa Manjari got this bite? Being the Tadatma, oneness with Radharani. Whatever Radharani is going through with Krishna immediately reflects on the Manjaris, and especially Rupa Manjari. Understand? So, Leela Vilase Bhakti Manjare Lolu Palane Sarvagya Mugdhe Cha Nidhei. Not elaborating on that subject anymore. I have no qualification for that. Sarvagya Mugdhe Cha Nidhei Gokulanante Namaha. Oh Krishna, you are Sarvagya. Means you are all knower. You know everything. Everything. What's happening in the spiritual worlds? He knows everything. What's happening in the material world? He knows everything. And how many universes are there? 5, 10, 15? Uncountable. And what's happening in any universe? He knows everything. So once this question was being asked to Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, how Krishna knows everything? What's happening in so many universes? And he just gave a simple example. Smilingly, laughingly, he said, if you get a scratch in any part of your body, you acknowledge it or not? You feel like scratching your finger, your thighs, your feet. How you get, what is the word? Alert for that. Similarly, awareness. All this universe is manifested from Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. So he is aware of everything. Abhigya Swarat. The first verse of Bhagavatam says, Janma dasya yataha anvayad itiris charthishu abhigya Swarat. He knows everything. So Sarvagya. He knows what's happening in our heart. Every living entity's heart. I don't know what you're thinking about me. I don't know what you're thinking about me. Even I don't know what you think, what you're thinking, but Krishna knows. He's just sitting there. He knows everything. What's happening in the complete farm, 100 acres? He knows everything. What peacock is thinking? So many peacocks here. Krishna knows everything. That's called Sarvagya. And simultaneously, Mugdhai cha nidhai, the ocean of knowing everything, and the ocean of mugdata, bewildered, forgetfulness. You also don't know anything. That's controversial. You said he knows everything. Now you're saying he don't know anything. If he always believing that he is the all-knower, he is the Supreme Lord, he cannot expand his pastimes. Pastimes cannot take place, or in other words, he cannot taste his pastimes, relish his pastimes. So for that, he has to develop this mood of mugdata, means bewilderment. I don't know anything. And who's doing this? A very strong potency of Krishna, who's working under Krishna, but she acts independently to make Krishna taste and relish his pastimes. And that potency is Yog Maya. Krishna handed over the remote of his pastime in the hands of Yog Maya. In whatever way you want to make me play, or you want to make my pastimes play, is all your duty. I don't know anything. I just want to enjoy. And you have to create the situations. A great task. How expert is Yog Maya? Radesh Keli Prabhutta Pramod Vinast Vrajaband Angri Kirpalu Daya Akhla Vishwandam Purnamashi Shirsha Namavi. The Parnam mantra of Yog Maya, Purnamashi Devi. She is the one who expands, unfold and fold the pastimes of Krishna. And Krishna gave the remote of his pastime in her hands. So therefore Chaitanya Charitamrita explains योग माया को रिबे अपना प्रभावे अमी न जानी गोपीगण दुहु रूप गने दुहु नित्य हरे मन धर्म छाड़ी राग दोह करे मिलन कबू मिले कबू ना मिले देवेर घटन. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains. Yog Maya Devi, she is arranging all this. One, Krishna, who is Supreme Lord, who is the all-knower, who knows everything. He don't know. What he don't know? Na jane Radha Prem Ache ko to bal. I don't know what is the strength in the love of Radharani. Se bale ama kare bibal, that overwhelms me when I see how Radharani interacting or reciprocating with love. I don't know what is that love about. One who is all-knower, he don't know anything. Brahma came and stole the calves and the cowherd boys of Krishna. And Krishna just yogurt and rice in his left palm, eating, and is bewildered. Where is my cowherd boys gone? Where are my calves gone? Prabhu, you know everything. And you don't know where is your cowherd boys gone? So Krishna is bewildered in that posture. He's moving here and there on the bank of Jamuna. Where are my cowherd boys gone? But now he wants to know. And when he wants to know, Yogamaya revealed. That's the task of Brahma. Brahma did this. Now immediately he switched over the other mode. Like I have an AC in my room. There's a button mode. Eco mode. So if you put eco mode, green light, that means it turns on and off. And I was suffering one night with that. So moment you switch off that eco mode, the AC runs straight. So in this way, the mode change Krishna wants to know, where my coward boy gone? The Yogmaya immediately changed the mode. Tung. And then he becomes all knower. Oh, Brahma, you did this. So this is the functioning of Yogmaya. And that's why Vishnu Chakur Thakur is praying. Leela vilase bhakti manjire lolu palane sarvagya mugdhe cha nidhe gokula nante namaha. And there are further more verses on that. How beautiful it is, right? To hear Krishna's sweet pastimes, his interactions, his reciprocations with his cows. We have so many cows here. 20? Gir cows. Huh? 20 cows. So big, fat cows. Therefore, this is Gokul Dham, right? And we have Gopalas here. And Gokul Dham. Cows are here, peacocks are here, cuckoo birds. So beautiful, stimulating the moods of Vrindavan. So it's so nice to hear the pastimes of Krishna. But only just by hearing the pastime is not going to work. One needs sadhan, abhideha, practice to enter in those pastimes. What is that sadhan? Shavanam, kirtanam, smaranam. Hearing, speaking, and remembering. These are prominent. This is called Sarup Siddha Bhakti. There are 3 categories. Arop Siddha, Sangha Siddha, and Sarup Siddha Bhakti. Sang Siddha Bhakti means those activities which supports our bhakti. For example, it's important to take shower in the morning before coming Mangal Aarti. Yeah. But just getting shower itself is not a bhakti. Otherwise, fish is doing bhakti all day and night. Fish is in the water. And if you take 3 times shower, that means you're doing bhakti. Something which is done for Krishna is called bhakti. So this is Sang-Siddha Bhakti. Keep your body clean and XYG. All this. These are supportive to bhakti. These are not bhakti in itself. Therefore termed Sang-Siddha Bhakti. And who's explaining this? Vishnu Chakur Thakur. Then there is Arop Siddha Bhakti. You Arop means Arop. I got stuck with this word other day also.
Yeah, it was doing like the things you like to do.
I establish, huh?
Not real thing. I remember long time ago, Prabhupada was like explaining, like Gurudev asked him, so on the stage Maharaj was speaking and he was asking him to explain that. He gave an analogy, a rope, English word, not a rope. So it's like a rope sita means not, something like this, not real bhakti.
Yeah, not real bhakti, but which
Oh, I'm sorry, Maharaj. So he was saying sometimes we see a rope and we think it is a snake, but it's not a snake, it's a rope. Something like that. He used an analogy. It's a good one.
Which,
semblance.
the semblance, yes. The semblance of bhakti. I believe this is bhakti, but actually it's not bhakti. So Sarup Siddha Bhakti is what? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Hearing, chanting, speaking about Krishna and remembering. That's the foremost. That's ultimate. Sarup Siddha Bhakti. Therefore, this is called practice. We are very fond of hearing. Oh, beautiful Radha Krishna pastimes. And that's our ultimate goal. But what is the practice to achieve that goal? You want to drink milk from cow. And just by staring and gazing at cow, she's not going to give milk. You have to practice. It's hard work to take milk from her udders. And then you can serve so many devotees. So that practice is called Abhideya. And for that, we need science. And that science is Srimad Bhagavatam. Not knowledge, is science. What is the difference between knowledge and science? Knowledge is just mere understanding, and science is realization of that knowledge. Knowledge means information, science means transformation. So when information turns out to transformation, that is called science. And Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the form of Krishna, not only giving us knowledge, but with that knowledge, giving us transformation, giving us science. That's the only purpose of reading, reciting, remembering, speaking, hearing Bhagavatam. If there is no transformation, doing all that, then there is not much benefits, little some benefits. But reading Bhagavatam for the sake of serving Krishna, with this intent, Bhagavatam gives transformation. Because Bhagavatam gives us bhakti. And that bhakti which is endowed with jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. If you are not developing any renunciation after hearing or reading Srimad Bhagavatam, then there is something wrong in our reading or understanding. Of course, understanding. Reading can be good recitation. But if there is no renunciation, then that reading is just a reading. It's not science, it's just knowledge. We are not here in this world to become philosophers. That's not our goal and aim. Our aim is to become the devotees. And by devotion, by bhakti, simultaneously by cultivation of bhakti, jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation follows the path of bhakti. One gets knowledge and one gets renunciation too. So this is one aligned. The three of that is in one aligned. Bhakti, knowledge and renunciation. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all the scriptures. Nigam kalptarum galitam phalam shukh mukhat amrit dravya samvitam pibad bhagavata rasamalayam muha raho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all scriptures. Just like the essence of the tree is the fruit. Right? So Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to as ripened fruit of the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, Brahma Sutra, the ripened fruit. And specifically a fruit is described in comparison with Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that fruit? Banana, apple, grapes, berries? What's that fruit?
Ripened fruit of
Love of God.
Vedic knowledge.
Which fruit Bhagavatam is compared to as?
I thought it was the mango.
Mango. Why mango only?
The king of fruits.
Because
No seed.
mango is the king of all fruits. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the king of all the scriptures. King. All scriptures are submissive to Srimad Bhagavatam. Or, in other words, all scripture speaks about Srimad Bhagavatam. In Matsya Puran, Padma Puran, all these Puranas, you see the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam mentioned there. Matsya Puran was written prior to Srimad Bhagavatam. Who wrote that? Krishna Dvaipan Ved Vyas. And in Matsya Puran, Ved Vyas is writing Yatra Kirti Gayatri Varnati Dharma Vistara Srimad Bhagavatam Shivrita Sur Vaddopete Srimad Bhagavatam Vishyate. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? That book in which the killing of Vritasur is mentioned. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. Then in Padma Puran and in all other Puranas, the glories of Bhagavatam is mentioned. The essence, the ripened fruit of the Vedas. And that's why Bhagavatam is known as Mahapuran. Just like we say Prasad, and then there is Mahaprasad. What's the difference, Prabhu?
One of them Krishna personally had,
Hmm.
and then the other one is just associated with that amount that what Krishna had.
Something which is offered to Krishna is known as Krishna Prasad. But when it's offered to the associates of Krishna, and the saliva of that loving bhakti get along with that saliva of Krishna, then it becomes Mahaprasad. Because after offering to Krishna, it goes to Radharani. And then the associates of Radharani. Then it becomes Mahaprasad. First we offer with a mantra to Krishna. Then Krishna Prasad is offered to Radharani, right? And that's why when we do noon offering, there's a song by Bhakti Thakur we sing in our temples. Bhajabha tava sala Shri Gaura Hari Shri Gaura Hari Sohi Goshta Bihari Nanda Yashomati Chitahari Bhajabha Katava Sala Shri Gaura Hari Bela Helo Damodara Aisa Ekhana Bhoga Mandira Boshi Karona Bhojana Nandera Nidesh Besi Girivaradhari. Forgetting now. I used to sing this every day when I was Pujari. So, when it is offered to Krishna, it becomes Prasad. But then, Yashomati Agya Pai Dhanishthayanito Krishna Prasada Radha Bunjana Prito. Dhanishta, one of the Sakhi, the girlfriend of Radharani, she brings that prasad to Radharani. And Radharani, she is honoring that Krishna's prasad, and in her mind she is remembering Krishna a lot. So this is all the song about the offering song by Bhakti Thakur. We sing in all our temples.
But in our offering procedure,
Sorry?
in our offering procedure,
Huh.
we don't chant a mantra offering it to Radhika, do we?
Yes. I'll tell you later. Can't speak on microphone. We do offering like to both, to Radha Krishna together. Yes. But after the procedure is when Krishna eats, then is given by Dhanishta to Radharani. And then all the Sakhis. So then it becomes Mahaprasad for us. For them is Prasad. For us it becomes Mahaprasad because it's coming more and more tasted by, and it still remains complete. So many of them they eat, but it remains complete. It's so surprising. Why it remains complete? Ishopanishad, first verse. What is that verse? Om Purnamidam. Purna eva ishyate. Krishna is Purna, complete. And whatever it is also complete. Whatever you leave, remnant is also complete. So it remains complete for us. This with the Siddhanta. It's not just a phonetic understanding. This is Siddhanta because Krishna is complete. Everything belongs to Krishna. The Tadya Vastu of Krishna is all complete. The flower looks beautiful in the garden. But that same flower, if you pluck that flower and offer to Krishna, the flower becomes complete just by the touch of the Lord. Just by the touch of Lord. If you kick that flower or walk on that flower, you're not going to go any consequence. But the flower which is offered to the lotus feet of Krishna, try to step on that, and then you see what's going to happen. Any evidence from Bhagavatam? Panditji,
Durvasa
what Durvasa?
gave it to Indra.
Durvasa brought garland of Krishna and offered to Indra when he was on his elephant, riding on elephant. And Indra didn't give any respect to that garland. He kept on the head of his elephant, Aravat. An elephant shook his head, garland fell on the ground, and he stepped on that garland. And Durvasa saw this. And he cursed Indra, cursing the king of demigods, who is so powerful. May you become devoid of all your opulence. And this is what happened. With that curse, Indra has to run away. He lost all his kingdom, everything. So, anything get, any ingredient, any paraphernalia, which is for the service of Krishna, if we offend or if we kick or step on that, is offensive. But prior to that, it has no significance. Similarly is with initiation. We as human bodies, which is important than other species of life. Why it is important? Every living entity, every species of life is important. Yeah. Dogs, cats, birds, due respect to them. But who is more important than all the species of life? Human bodies. I'm not proving this. Your newspaper proves that. Any country getting earthquake, what comes on the headlines? How many dogs died? How many cats died?
Or a dog got rescued.
Nothing. The rescue team goes there to escape human beings. 500 people died. Oh, terrible. 1,000 people died. Oh, so bad. The gravity of, the intensity of that earthquake or natural calamities, according to how many people died. Not dogs, birds. But listen. How many of you been Vrindavan? Vrindavan? Have you seen those shops where they're making those deities? If you see the person who's making those deities, if you see how they're making that, have you ever noticed that?
Their feet.
Yeah, they have to put under their feet and making the eyes and the nose in the features of Radha and Krishna and Gopal. Hana? In the same temple, in the same shop, he's having a small temple. Gopal, he keep Gopal there to worship. Can he touch that Gopal with his feet? Not at all. But he made his Gopal. When he was making his Gopal, he has to put that on one angle under his feet to make the features. But he will not touch Gopal with his feet. And he's selling thousands of deities in his shop. And he made all those deities handmade, keeping under his feet. If you take your deities, Radha, Gokulanand, shopkeeper, can you just fix some eyes of Krishna? He will never use his feet in that case. What's the difference? You bought the same deities. You bought the deities from the same shop. And he made the deities putting under his feet. And now you want to change some features, he can't even think of touching with his feet. Because now they are installed. Before they were not installed. That's the difference. Human body is important. Durla manusham deham. Dehinan Shambhangur. Human birth is rare and very important. But it gets more importance when the human bodies get installed. And that installation, the process of installation is called Diksha. Diksha means what? Divya Gyan Yado Dadat Kurjasya Pap Sankshayam. Di means Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge. And Shaya means destruction of all unwanted desires from the heart. This together made Diksha. Okay, with the example of the analogy of how those shopkeepers, they make deities, but later after installation they cannot touch the deities with his feet. With his foot he can't do that. He can't even think of that. He applies some other means to change the features and all. Similarly, the human body is very important and the best creation of the Lord. But we get kicked by the external energy of the Lord, Maya, with 3 shackles made of gold, silver and iron. Gold, silver and iron. Shackle means shackle. You bind a person with a rope, the chair, for 5 days, and you bind a person with golden chain for 5 days, it's the same thing. You can't be just happy seeing gold around you. But your movements are restricted. It can be a simple $1 rope, or it can be 1 million gold chain. You know? Similarly, we are, as human bodies, without installation being done, we are bound with these 3 ropes. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And only means to get out of these 3 modes of material nature, the very first step is Guru Padashraya, acceptance of spiritual master, to begin to initiate the process of initiation. Under his guidance, under his supervision, under his affection, under his wings. Just like a mother bird nourish the offsprings. Similarly, Guru, under his wings, he nourished disciples. With his instructions, with his love, with his affection and his corrections. Everything. This is not good, this is inappropriate, this is proper. We get to know. This is called trainer. And for every areas we need trainer. Otherwise we might do something wrong. Trainer is required. Yeah. Even for yoga you need trainer. Once upon a time a person got a CD from the market. He said, I don't need any trainer for my yoga. I just put on CD, a YouTube or something, and I will just practice yoga at my home. I don't need any trainer. Many people say, I don't need any trainer. I don't need any spiritual master. Everything is there in Google. You just type and get all the mantras from there. So he applied that CD, and the trainer is teaching on the screen. Take a long breath. And the CD got stuck there. And he's just waiting for the next instruction to exhale. There's no next instruction. The only instruction here is inhale. And his face turning red. How long? And then his wife was cooking in the kitchen. She's thinking that I'm not hearing any sound. What's happening? Let me go and check. And she saw the husband is like almost about to die. His face become turned red. He said, breathe out. He said, the guy is not saying. Then he touched the screen and the CD start moving again. I said, exhale. Finally, I've saved. If you learn yoga like this, you'll die. It's a fun example. So, in every areas we need trainer, driving, whatever it is. And what to speak of as the most important area, that spiritual life, you need a trainer, one who's expert. Shabde paracha nishnatam, tasman gurum parpadde, jigyasu shem uttamam. One who is inquisitive and interested in spiritual life, he must accept a spiritual master. One who is fully well versed in all the scriptures, not only with knowledge, but the science, the realization, who can tell us and correct us. And under his shelter, we can learn so much with experience. You know? This is all about abhideha, practice. Otherwise, we get just kicked by the external energy Maya. But moment we get installation, when Guru recite the mantra in the ear of disciple, what he do? He gives Gaur mantra, he gives Guru mantra, he gives Krishna mantra. He install Krishna in the heart. There's one installation outside with the deities, but the installation of Krishna in the heart through the media of that subtle syllables which is called mantras. Because Krishna is subtle in nature. And worship of Krishna is done in a subtle way, with subtle mantras. Because the spiritual abode is subtle, it's not gross. More you go up, elevation of the, the universe is more subtle in nature. Subtle in nature and more subtle in understanding. And the topmost abode, Shri Golok Vrindavan, the most subtle abode. And everything is just very subtle there. Subtle understanding, not gross. You understand gross and subtle means? Gross means mixture of ignorance and passion, sometimes goodness, but more prominent is ignorance. And more elevation in consciousness, elevation of consciousness reaching to the Krishna consciousness, which is the topmost elevation. How to get connected with a spiritual abode, which is subtle in nature, with the subtle mantras. And by reciting those mantras day and night, the consciousness is getting refined and consciousness is getting elevated and touching the spiritual abode. And then it's a descending process. Then it reflects, it falls. What falls? Realizations falls. Realization falls. As much as we can touch the transcendental abode, in that proportion, we get realization. And with the byproduct of that, no need to practice. The byproduct of that, immediately, spontaneously, one goes through renunciation. Immediately. It just go parallel with the touching of that spiritual abode. So the process is a process. And this process begins with Guru Padashraya, acceptance of spiritual master in our life. Srimad Bhagavatam gives us insight of this, detailed knowledge of this. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is known as Mahapuran. There are other Puranas. Who's written? Who wrote all the scriptures? Charu? Who wrote the scriptures? You don't know?
Not the Puranas before.
Vyasadeva.
Oh, yeah.
Shri Vyasadeva, he wrote all the scriptures, Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Mahabharata. And he was not satisfied writing all that, and finally he wrote the essence, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is known as Mahapurana. So what's the difference between Purana and Mahapurana? Anyone? The essence of all scriptures. Any other answer?
My understanding is that the reason he was dissatisfied is while he spoke of so many very important things, he did not express it in such a way that Krishna was glorified and Krishna was center. And so this is why in his heart he was not feeling great satisfaction.
Correct, 100% correct. Wonderful. But my question was, the question I ask is, why Puranas are known as just Puranas and Srimad Bhagavatam is Mahapuranas? That's my question. It's philosophical. Puranas have 5 symptoms and Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 symptoms. And because of that 10 symptoms described in Srimad Bhagavatam is known as Mahapurana. What are those 10 symptoms? Sarga Visarga Sthanam Poshnam Uti Manvantra Ishanukatha Nirodha Muktir Ashraya. Any scripture, any literature with these 10 symptoms is known as Mahapurana, the essence of all the Puranas. Okay, this is one. Other consideration is Srimad Bhagavatam is known as Amal Puran. Srimad Bhagavatam Praman Amalam Yad Vaishnav Nam Priyam. Amal means without any contamination. So what does this mean? Is Puranas have contaminations? Yes. What kind of contaminations? Desires. How we can fulfill the desires? You do this, you get that. You do this, you get liberation. You do this, you get, a son. You perform this activity, this sacrifice, you get that. This is all contaminations. There's a mixture in devotion, diluting the devotion. Purana speaks a lot about that. Therefore, there's a mal, contamination. But Bhagavatam, what is the second verse?
Dharma projit kaita.
Loud. Dharma projit kaitav atro parmo nirma saranam satam. Vedyam vastam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayana mulanam. Shrimad Bhagavat Mahamuni krite kim vaprai rishvara. Sadhya hridya avruddhati krite vishvishvya darshana. Dharma projit kaitav. Rejecting, Srimad Bhagavatam speaks rejection of all deceitful propensities. These material desires to get satisfied, this is a cheating, a deceitful propensity. Bhagavatam is not speaking any of such. Is going beyond this. Therefore, is Amal Puran without any contamination. Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha. Religiosity, sense gratification, Dharma, Arth, Kam, material prosperity and liberation. These 4 things are prominent in Puranas, but it has no place and no room in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam only describe and explain and establish the Pancham Purushartha. That's only Krishna Prem. That's all. This is a difference. And that's why Bhagavatam is known as Mahapuran with 10 symptoms. It starts with the 3rd canto. Shukdev Goswami came in the last of the first, the narration of Shukdev Goswami in the last chapters of first canto, and the Parikshit Maharaj started asking questions from the 2nd canto onwards, and the description, or we can say the answering of those questions, begins with 3rd canto, which is Sarga Leela, means creation. Then 4th is Visarga. 6th is Sarga Visarga Sthanam, placements. 3rd, 4th, 5th. And 6th is Poshanam, nourishment. Then 7th canto is Utihi, means fulfillment of desires. And 8th canto, Sarg Visarg Sthanam Poshamoti Manvantras. The pastimes happened in Manvantras. So therefore we have the churning of ocean and all that pastimes. Then 9th is Ishanukatha, the stories of the kings, the religious pious kings. Amrish Maharaj and all. Then Poshnam Sthanam Uti Manvantar Ishanukatha. Then Nirod is 11th canto. And 12th canto is Mukti, liberation. And 10th canto is Ashraya, the shelter of all other cantos is the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam describes about liberation. Do we need liberation? Sadan Prabhu, we need liberation or devotees, they seek and they need liberation or not?
From material consciousness.
Hmm?
We need liberation from material consciousness.
We need liberation from material consciousness. Panditji.
I agree with that.
I know.
We only need bhakti.
No, we need liberation. What does it mean, liberation?
Free from
We need mukti or not?
understanding.
We need mukti. But what is the meaning of mukti? Not impersonal, merging into impersonal effulgence of the Lord. That's not the mukti here. What is the meaning of mukti? Describe the definition of mukti described in the first canto of Bhagavatam. Mukti hitva anyatha swaswarupena avasthiti. Mukti means to get established in one's spiritual form. That's the ideal meaning of the word mukti, which everyone wants. So Srimad Bhagavatam describes that. And 10th canto is the Ashraya. So I wanted to start 7th canto, and that was the introduction. now it's 7:30.
Don't stop.
So 7th canto is Uti, Vasanas, means desires, good ones and the bad ones. 7th canto described the Uti, Utihi, means Vasanas, means desires, and they are good ones and the bad ones. So Hiranyakashipu, we are preparing for warming up for nursing Chaturdashi. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Today is 1st or 2nd?
First.
Today is 1st and it's on 4th.
Yeah, on the 4th.
We have 3 days. So we are starting preparing for that. So Utihi, Srimad Bhagavatam describes Karam Vasanas, Hiranyakashipu, bad desires. And Prahlad Maharaj, good desires, favorable desires, I would say. And Hiranyakashipu, unfavorable ones. The controller, the ruler of the whole universe. But he cannot control his own anger. You're controller and the ruler of everyone, you can't rule over your mind. This is the nature of Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj is not a ruler, is not a controller. So, he's not, the mind is not ruling him, he is ruling his mind. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Excuse me, Maharaj, we have someone here who is very new to Krishna consciousness. Maybe we can very shortly tell him about the pastime for Alauta Hiranyakashipu.
Next few days.
He will learn.
7:30.
He will learn gradually. Yes? If you only, just one example, don't take otherwise. If you never had a mango lassi, you had this lunch?
Mm.
If you never had this before, you want to have this every day. Yeah? It's more superior than ordinary lemonade. So this is we trying to do, giving you mango lassi. And every day you got, every day drink that, huh? Manohar Prabhu made. So everything is inclusive. I'm coming to also to journal fundamentals also, but just an outline, the intro of what we are trying to do. All the way going to the abode of Radha Krishna with that beautiful pastimes, but how to get entrance into that seventh canto is the most important canto, who's teaching us how we can enter into that divine realm of service to Radha Krishna. We can't avoid this. If you avoid this, forget about. Nothing can be possible. So Hiranyakashipu, okay, as she said, I give one ordinary example then, which is a very important example. Apart from Srimad Bhagavatam, there was one big dacoit and a murderer. His name was Ungli Mal. He used to reside in forest. Anyone passing by in the forest, he used to kill that person. And only cut his one finger and make garland around his neck. He was very fond of putting garland of fingers around his neck. So as many people he's killing, he's just chopping with the axe. He used to have an axe in his hand. So after killing, chopping off the head, he cut one finger as a, what do you call?
Souvenir.
Souvenir?
Yeah.
He used to put tie with his rope, necklace around his. So his name became famous as Ungli Mal. You heard this before? And all town, village around that forest, terrified with his terror. People stopped going, even the vicinity, in any closeness to that village. They used to take long route, but not taking a shortcut because he become a terrorist. And once upon a time, Buddha, who got nirvana, means realization, under one tree. So Buddha is not one, Buddha is two. I'm not speaking about the Buddha who is the incarnation of the Lord. I'm speaking on other Buddha who preached monism and he got enlightened in the same village where Buddha got birth. Understand? People are confused, there is one Buddha, but there are two. So, when he got enlightened, he became totally saintly. Even though he was a prince, Gautam, but he got enlightened, he became totally renunciate. He understood the purpose of life. And he understood, who am I? What is myself about? So because of this realization in detail, he became totally renunciate and mendicant. He's just moving and preaching and making disciples. So once upon a time when he was near to that village, was crossing that village, his disciples and people in journal welcomed him and heard his discourse. And they said, where is your next move? He said, I'm going to the next village. Oh, but sir, don't cross this village. Don't cross this forest. Take some other route. He said, why not here? He said, because there is a dacoit staying in this forest, and his name is Ungli Mal. He killed thousands of people in his life. 1,000 people in his life. He has no mercy, no compassion. He's like an animal, ferocious. He just killed them, and he always keep a necklace on his neck. Buddha smiled. He said, oh, good to know this. I was planning not to enter the forest, and in my head there was another route, but since you told me that he stay here, I would like to pass this forest. Please, Gurudev, don't go there. He He's a very cruel person. He's not going to hear your discourse. He said, don't worry. I have no fear because I'm not body. I'm soul. No one can harm me. They tried to stop him, but he was independent. So he went inside the forest. And the Unglimal, that dacoit, saw him. He said, wait a minute, stop! And he came with a ferocious, like big hairs and big beard and wearing that deer skin, all that, an axe in his hand. He said, how dare you are walking here in this forest? You know who am I? And Buddha replied very calm, sweet words. He said, I know who am I, but you don't know who you are. Didn't you heard my name? Buddha said, oh, is your name? My name is Unglimal. Buddha said, well, you have to work out on yourself. Because I have realized myself that who am I, but actually, even though you know your name, you don't know who you are. And his hands with the axe start sweating. I never heard this kind of words before in my life. He's saying, you don't realize who you are. And Buddha keep on walking. He says, stop! And Buddha replied, I have stopped many years back. And looks like you stopped, but actually you are walking. You have to stop. I stopped many years back. You need to stop now. He said, I want to kill you. He said, yes, you are most welcome. But I want to see your strength. Do you have any strength? He said, of course. You don't know me? He said, well, I know who am I. I don't know about you. You have to know who you are. But I want to check your strength. If you have strength, can you cut the branch of a tree? He said, of course. I want to show you my strength. And he cut a branch of a tree. Branch fell down. Buddha said, now, can you fix this branch back to tree? And he said, what foolish question is that? This is impossible. He said, this is what I want you to understand. If you can't fix a branch of a tree, you have no right to cut the branch of a tree. You killing people. That's your hobby. But can you give the life back to them? Which is more glorious than killing them? If you can't give the life back to them, you have no right to take their life back. And that words was a turning point in his life. He threw that axe and he fell at the feet. He said, who are you? I'm totally surrendered to you. You changed my life. I killed so many people in my life. I did all sins in my life. I did all wrongs in my life. Never I come across anyone who spoke these words to me. You're fearless. Anyone who came in front of me full of fear. And I enjoyed their fear. But I see your face so calm. You have no fear. Even I try to scare you. But you changed my life. Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. Arjun said in Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, Krishna, I'm so bewildered. Now I'm your disciple. Whatever you instruct, I follow that. So he became submissive. And he fell at his feet. With tears in his eyes, his heart melted. He said, I'm not going to kill anyone in my life because you changed my life now. So, oh holy saint, give me initiation. And he said, oh sadhu Unglimal, get up. You understand? When he fell at his feet, his guru addressed him as sadhu. Now you became sadhu. Before you were dacoit. So people and even I was addressing you as dacoit Unglimal. But by your submission to me, now I'm addressing you as Sadhu Unglimal. There's no need to get any initiation. He said, no, but I beg you. He said, no, but your life has changed. He said, even then, give me that divine knowledge. So Buddha said, you're very close to that knowledge. Soon you'll get initiation. So he recited some mantras and he got initiated. He said, can I follow you? Can I walk with you? He said, of course. Then they both crossed the forest and they appeared in the next village, and all villagers, hey, he's the guy. He killed my husband, he killed my wife, he killed my grandparent, like that. And everyone started throwing stones on him. First of all, they shut their doors, scared of him. And they, from their windows, from their roof, they start stoning. And he's accepting all that punishment. Then Buddha asked him, you don't want to retaliate? You don't want to kill them? He said, no. They are throwing stones on me. Then what is the point of me throwing stone back on them? I don't want to adopt their nature because I'm totally changed now. And if this is in my fate, I'm ready to accept that. The Buddha said, now you are Brahmin. Before I address you as Sadhu, now you're Brahmin Unglimal. You have to shave. Because people now they're getting to know you and they see your transformation. So he shaved and he wore this monk, a mendicant outfit, and he's sitting in the in the classroom of Buddha where he was preaching. The news spread everywhere. A big transformation happened. Then the king of that territory, who was also scared of him, he tried to kill this dacoit, but he was unable. But when he heard this news, he became so curious to see this transformation. And when he came in the hermitage of Buddha, the students stood up to honor the king. Buddha was sitting. The king said, "Oh, Buddha, my obeisances to you. I heard you did a great miracle." And he said, "This world itself is a miracle. I've not done anything. But I heard you made Anglimal your disciple." He said, Buddha said, "Yes, you want to see him?" He said, No. "But is he present here?" He said, "Yes, he's amongst the students sitting here." And Buddha told, "Brahmin, Anglimal, stand up." And he stood up with such meek and humble mood, folded hands, totally shaved and wearing sannyasi outfits. At the moment he stood up, king took his sword because he got scared that maybe there will be an attack on him. And Brahmin Anglimal, with folded hands, he said, "Yes, Gurudev, what is the order?" He said, "Nothing, they just wanted to see you, the transformation in you." And he said, "Oh king, in whatever way you want to punish me, I'm ready to accept any punishment, because I've realized I'm not this body. Any threats, any harm to my body, I'm least affected." King started crying. This is just because of the words emanated from a pure devotee? Such a transformation? And the king also became disciple of Buddha. This is called initiation. when there's a transformation in the heart, by hearing some powerful words which change so many lives, it itself is initiation. Of course, we have to come in the process of initiation by receiving those divine mantras, but this is the transformation of life about. Transformation. Which happens by reading any word, any verse, any statement from Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why I said in the beginning, Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam thoroughly means there should be some renunciation and transformation in the life. Otherwise, we are just gathering knowledge. Huh? Yes, we need to have science. Everything is science, right? Not just the knowledge, the science. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Introduction to 7th canto. We're going to start tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Said there was two Buddhas. So this the incarnation of the like Vishnu. So is the same Buddha, this Gautam Buddha who is the prince or someone else?
No. In Dashavatar, this narration of Buddha, who is incarnation of Krishna, that's different. That happened many years back. But this Gautam Buddha, he was a prince. I didn't tell the whole story because there was not much time. But when he was a prince, once upon a time, he saw a young boy from his palace. Then another day, he saw an old man. Other day he saw a diseased person, coughing, fever. The third day he saw an old man. And after 1 week he saw a dead body. He asked his parents, "What is this? I saw a boy who was dancing, playing. Next day I saw a person who was deceased. Then I saw an old man. What is this?" Then the parents explained to him, "Gautam, this is the transition of life. Everyone has to become young, teenager, and everyone has to become middle-aged, and then old, and then everyone going to die one day." And that was the transformation in his life. Dying means you finish and you get a new body. You again become a child. Then what is the use of this kingdom? What is the purpose of me being the prince? If dying is inevitable, if dying is everything, then why have to enjoy? He got totally changed by visualizing this. Just visualizing and only understanding. And then he sat under that tree. Bodh Gaya. The Gaya is the place of the birth of Lord Buddha.
Okay, Gaya is the place.
Yes. And this Buddha, who's Gautam, he went to that place Gaya and he sat under a tree and he chanted whatever his process is and he got enlightened there. And then he adopted the same name Buddha because that was the birthplace of Lord Buddha.
So what is the story of Buddha from Dasavatar?
The story of Buddha Dashavatar, he is a incarnation of Krishna who came to propagate non-violence. Because there were so many animals getting slaughtered for the yagyas, which was important, which was very prominent in those days, to put animal sacrifice in the yagyas.
Yeah.
So Lord Buddha came to stop that process, to stop that violence to the animals. That was the only purpose of Buddha to come. So that's Lord Buddha, who is the Shaktavesh avatar of Krishna. But this Gautam Buddha is just from Kali Yuga. He's just a prince and he got enlightened. And because he enlightened in the same village where Lord Buddha got birth in India, place called Gaya, and that's why he adopted the name Buddha.
It's not that he wanted to imitate Buddha, right?
Huh?
He just happened to get enlightened. Right?
Yes, yes. And then he started preaching monism, Shunyavad, Nirvishesh Shunyavad Paschat Deshatarane. Prabhupada, no? Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesh Shunyavad. This is what Buddha was preaching.
But then he didn't get enlightened. If he would have gotten enlightened, he would not have preached monism.
Huh?
So his enlightenment was partial.
Partial. That's only Shunyavad. He said everything is void. Monism, zero. That's his understanding.
So Maharaj, are Buddhists, like the people who call themselves Buddhists
The
today,
Buddhists, they follow this Buddha.
they follow the one who...
When I used to travel in China, I used to go a lot before COVID. I was telling them, what Buddha are you following?
Are there any disciples of the Lord Buddha around?
No.
No.
They only follow this Buddha.
Mhm.
Nirvishesh Shunyavad.
How should we regard this Gautam Buddha?
Just like according to Vaishnava or according to as a ordinary person?
According to Vaishnava.
It's like Paramahamsa Yogananda.
Yeah. Following Buddhism. And many kings started following him. Why Buddha became famous? Because many great kings, they became his disciples. Ashok. My God, if you see the territory of Ashok, was like all the Middle East countries, Afghanistan, India, Nepal, big territory. That was the territory of Ashok. And he became the disciple of Buddha. So when king became disciple, then everyone started following. That's how he became famous. So many kings became his disciples. From the Vaishnava perspective, it's against Vaishnavism. But because he got nirvana and all, so he changed many people's life. So like a sadhu, a saintly person. But we have not much to do with his philosophy. Like who is Shankaracharya?
Shiva.
Yeah, Shankara Sakshat. We respect Shiva, but we don't respect his philosophy. He's Shiva, but he did purposely on the order of Krishna. Krishna told him to do this. So we respect Shiva, but we don't respect the philosophy promoted by Shiva, because this philosophy was not for us, for demons, to bewilder them.
But Gautama Buddha, he's not like any divine personality like Lord Shiva.
No,
right?
it's totally different. That's
He's a jiva.
He's a jiva.
Yeah.
Shankaracharya is Shankar.
Right.
Chalo.
So Maharaj ji, tomorrow the program, do you want to tell?
No, you discuss.